What's going on, sons and daughters? Eric, first off, it's good to see you, man. Welcome back. I said it last week. We owe people an apology because I said at the end of my video last week, if we lose to Miami, we'll know why. It's because we didn't record together. So we are now officially, excuse me, a little lump in my throat because of how sad I am. We are now 4 for 4 on not recording and losing. Like I said, we did record for the Louisville game. I just didn't put it out, but we were here. That was the same weekend I was in Charlotte, so different things went on that week anyway, not important. Here we are. As some of you might have noticed, I was not on the podcast with Bill and Pat this past week to talk about the Miami game, so I do want to talk about that a little bit. Eric is going to talk about some of the questions that he kind of has going forward. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. Eric, first off, I mean, we had a great turnout on Saturday at O'Brien's, but obviously not the outcome that we wanted there on Saturday. Kind of what did you see that you liked? Well, let's start there. What did you like on Saturday?
I liked seeing tackling that was above bumper car grade. You know, the tackling that Virginia Tech displayed against Liberty was the worst I've ever seen in 9 years of being a Virginia Tech football fan. It was atrocious, to put it nicely, and credit to Justin Hamilton. Whatever he said the following week in practice was clear that was not going to fly. The defense did its job and absolutely did enough to win the game. I thought Dax Holyfield in particular really stepped it up on defense, and loved just the cohesion of the unit and the fact that they really made life difficult for a talented quarterback in De'Aaron King.
I agree. I mean, and y'all, last week I was so hard on the defense. I literally told them to get off the bus. It'd be nice if they showed up. And guess what? They did. They got off the bus. They played all things considered, a very good football game on Saturday. Dax Holyfield, you just mentioned him. I think he had a career game. One of the best games of his 3 years at Virginia Tech. So shout out to Dax Holyfield. I know Bill and Pat said the exact same thing. Jared Hewitt, phenomenal game. I don't even know how many sacks he had, but we were getting pressure on the quarterback. We were getting into the backfield, which is something that has been very inconsistent this season. But you also have to remember that Miami had troubles on the offensive line, had some guys out injured, had some guys out with COVID. So, I mean, I'm going to give the guys credit, obviously. The defense played well. The secondary, Breon Murray, locked down coverage, minus the one, took the wrong angle there on King and gave up a touchdown. But other than that, Breon Murray and guys like Jamari Connor, the secondary, Diablo, everyone had a solid game for the most part. That leads us to the offense. I mean, I still think that the offensive line is playing well, at least on the ground. We have guys who are stepping up. Jalen Holston, what a game. Oh my gosh, career game, was running so angry, so fired up. So I'm glad to see Agent Zero doing his thing. What about you, Eric? I know you have your qualms, like I do, as well with some things on offense. But did you particularly enjoy anything? Did you see anything that kind of caught your? You can be honest. It's all right. Okay, we're gonna move on in.
Can I go in?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go in.
Okay.
I will start with the positive here.
Okay.
To your point about Holston, Grayson, that was wonderful to see. Holston did a wonderful job carrying the ball. I mean, that 19-yard run he had to set up the touchdown run was Herculean. I mean, I was coming out of that play saying, man, I really hope he can get into the end zone, because that was a run that deserved a touchdown. So he fights for the hard yards. He embodies what Hokie football is all about. So way to go, Holston. Now, when it comes to the offensive play calling, it has gotten to the point where I do seriously question whether or not Brad Cornelsen is the right man for the job as Virginia Tech offensive coordinator. Too many times Virginia Tech runs the ball on first down, runs the ball on second down, and hopes for the best on third down. I totally understand the desire to use Hendon Hooker as a runner very liberally, but at the same time, you have to protect his health. You have to get the ball to the other talented backs, and you have to take risks. And, when you play not to lose, more often than not, you lose. And so all I have to say about the play calling is it has to get better. There are easier ways to take a loss, but when you lose going down without a fight and calling plays so conservatively to the point where you wonder how this team can get better, that's where I get very concerned.
I think that concern is warranted. I've said it many times before. I mean, I think the thing that I noticed on Saturday is, we talk about how important Khalil Herbert and James Mitchell are to the success of our offense. And it seems as though we've built our offense around them. Both phenomenal players, but we have other weapons. Jalen Holston, Trey Turner, Tavion Robinson, you name it, we've got it. Raheem Blackshear, I've heard he's very, very dangerous in space, and we really don't do a lot with him. I don't get the QB draw on 3rd and 7. I don't get it. And here's the bad news. Here's a sons of transitions here. Pittsburgh has got a very good defense, Eric. Very good run defense. And if you don't think Pat Narduzzi was formerly a defensive coordinator, if you don't think for 1 second that on Saturday, if the game is played, because right now they're Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Panthers are dealing with some COVID issues, you can't tell me that he's not going to have that dialed up. He sees 3rd and short, and Hooker is in the shotgun. They're coming. They're going to bring the blitz and stop that every single time. Every single time. So we have to be more dynamic. We can't rely on 2 players or 3 players to be this 3-headed monster that runs our entire offense when we have literally a magic 8 ball of weapons. Just like literally a crystal ball, like shake the ball and then boom, Trey Turner, boom. It's that easy. I don't know. I just don't. I don't get it. I don't get it, and it's very concerning, like you say, Eric. So, Pittsburgh, man, keys to the game. What do you think? Offensively, what do we got to do?
Have to get the ball into Tavion Robinson and Trey Turner's hands. I mean, they got a few nice plays on Saturday against Miami, but they weren't involved enough. And I'm sure if Khalil Herbert and James Mitchell are healthy enough to play, the odds of them being at 100%, I would say, are low. So you have to be ready to diversify the use of the offensive weapons and try to control the number of carries Hendon Hooker has. Because if the Hokies are going to rely on him too much against a stout defense like Pittsburgh's, that's where trouble can really occur.
I agree. And also, what has happened? I mean, we've run it with James Mitchell, but we have Nick Gallo, and then we got Drake. I mean, like, what happened to the wheel route? I didn't see that once last week. Like, one time. We used to be so dangerous with that last season with Dalton Keene and James Mitchell. You hit him on that wheel route. That's how we beat Miami, running that play like 7 times. So, I mean, I agree. We have to be more dynamic. And if there's 5 minutes left and the opposing team is up by 1, don't throw a 30-yard pass over the receiver's head. Just run the clock down and milk the clock. And you have the offense to do something like that. It's not rocket science, but anyway, I digress. Moving on into the defense, keys to the defense. I'll start this one. Applying pressure on Kenny Pickett. He's a hell of a football player, hell of a quarterback, and will be in the National Football League next season. I don't care if he says, I'll decide after the season. You're going pro, Kenny Pickett. So if the defensive line plays half as well as they did last Saturday, I think we'll be fine. If the same defense that got off the bus last Saturday gets off this Saturday, I think Virginia Tech comes out of this game unscathed. But that being said, there is not a guaranteed win left on our schedule out of the Pittsburgh Panthers, the Clemson. Anyway, and then UVA. I mean, we're just not even going to talk about the follow. Yeah, anyway, I just don't like to think about that one. Anyway, Eric, any other defensive keys to the game?
I would say open field tackling, because with a quarterback as talented as Kenny Pickett, even if he's under pressure, I still see him completing passes. And there could be situations where a tackle makes the difference between a 7-yard gain or a 70-yard gain. So the defensive secondaries is really going to be challenged in this one, especially if the Hokies bring the blitz, which we do hope to see,
sure,
for pressure's sake. But there's going to be a lot of pressure on guys like Breon Murray, Jamari Connor, and the rest of the unit to make the tackles when Pickett completes passes, because he is going to complete passes.
For sure. Absolutely. I mean, just insanely talented quarterback. Don't let Pittsburgh, I swear, do not let Pittsburgh's record fool you. They always show up in the most random games. They have their own magic 8 ball. They shake it and it's like, okay, are we going to show up this week and play to the level of our opponent, or are we just going to roll over and die? Kind of like us. But some of y'all aren't ready for that conversation. Anyway, I think that leads us into score predictions and who scores the first touchdown. Eric, score prediction.
I'm going with the Hokies in this one. I'm not going to say that confidently. I think it's going to be a very close game. You know, Tech is a 3.5-point favorite, but who cares what Vegas says at this point?
Sure.
College football is so unpredictable.
Sure.
But look, when the chips are down, Fuente has delivered before. You know, after that Duke loss last season, it seemed like the point of no return. We are at a similar crossroads at this point in the season right now. With all that's been happening in the world, it's just been so hard to see the Hokies cope with, you know, all this adversity. Of course, we're just talking about football here relative to life as we know it. But the hard truth is these games still count, and this game is of massive importance. I see the Hokies gutting it out in a 34-31 win, and I think it's an easy pick on who scores the first touchdown. Whenever the Hokies get near the goal line, with the exception of Holston's great run last week, it's Henboss. Hendon Hooker is going to punch in the first score for the Hokies.
I like the pick. I like the score prediction. I actually don't think that it's a high-scoring game at all. Pittsburgh's defense, I think, is going to contain our offense, and I think our defense will actually play well. I have a funny feeling that they're going to do well on Saturday. I too am picking the Hokies to win for my sanity. Please, I'm begging you. I cannot do 3 weeks in a row. Will not be good for anybody, I promise. Taking the Hokies 24-21, and who scores the first touchdown? Jalen Holston, Agent Zero. I really hope that after the week he had last week that he comes out, he's the guy right there in the red zone. So other than that, that's all I got. Eric, you got anything else?
Go Hokies, gobble gobble.
Go Hokies, as always, sons and daughter. We'll see you next week. Take care and peace.